Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by the Fantasy Six Pack. I am your freshly gotten a haircut host. That actually looks bad on that side, but it's there. Nick Zaniboni. You can also call me Nick. Call me whatever you want, as long as you are watching. With my good friend, my flannel-wearing friend, Mr. Jason Beckner. How are you this evening, Jason?
What up, Nick? I got the flannel on. It's one of those times of the year where spring just does not want to, or winter does not want to let go. We're stuck in this.
Doesn't want to sprung.
Exactly. Yeah, spring does not want to sprung. It's supposed to snow here tomorrow, which is not good for
yeah, dude. It's just going to be
the Cubs game
in the Northeast for the next 3 days. But we're almost there. I hope you had a happy Easter.
Yep, absolutely.
We've had almost a week full of baseball. And Jason, I'm back. I'm ready. I'm ready for baseball. I've hit the point of the Celtics season where I'm just bring me to the playoffs. I'm still watching. I'm still paying attention, but just stay healthy and get me to the playoffs. But with that being said, Jason, it's my favorite time of the week, which is the cold open question of the week. And I'm going to get a little bit more professional here. We're going to talk more of a baseball question with a cold open question of the week. Kind of goes with the theme of the show. I want you to tell me what you're trying to not overreact to a week into the season. Ready, set, go. All right, Jason, what do we got?
So many things to overreact to. I could go with the bullpen situations that are always amok early on in the year, trying to figure out which committee, which guy's getting which saves. But my overreaction right now is some of these pitchers and their ERAs through the first start or two starts of the season. I don't know about you, but it seems like, I don't know if something's going on with the ball or what, but I'm seeing a lot of 10 plus combined run games.
Yep.
It seems like offense is through the roof so far early this year, which is usually not the standard. Usually you see a lot of these cold weather, teams and stuff, low scoring games, but that is opposite the case, at least in my eyes. I'm seeing a lot of high offensive outputs.
Jason, that's a little precursor to a different part of our show that we're going to talk about later.
Okay. I like that I just randomly brought that up as my overreaction, but yeah, I feel like my pitching ERA, whether it be from Bailey Ober or a few other guys out there that are just like their ERAs are through the ceiling just because of one bad start to start the year, but here we are. So I'm not going to try to overreact to team or pitchers' ERAs.
Okay. So mine's kind of along that same line, but it's more of a me take on it.
Okay.
I'll talk about the Red Sox pitchers. Because Jason, I don't know if
we need the luchador mask. We need the luchador mask for this.
I don't know if you've been paying any attention to the Red Sox at all in the last week.
I have. They've been playing Seattle, so they've been on that late night grind, which I love. I love the late night grinds.
Who does not like that late run grind?
Nick does not like those late night. I feel bad for those East Coast, you guys East Coasters, man. Like, I can remember living in Eastern Standard Time Zone, and it's not arguably, it is the worst time zone there is. Your news doesn't start till like 11 o'clock at night. Games on your what time does the game start? 11 o'clock at night for you guys or something like that? Like, usually. Yeah, it's insane. Like, it's the worst time zone there is.
All right.
But I have been paying attention to the Boston's games, but I don't know. Hit me with some ERAs.
No, I'm not going to hit you with an ERA because the ERA is still fine. We're going to talk whip.
Okay.
The Red Sox whip right now is 0.74.
Whoa. And they were playing a decent Seattle
They
team.
played a decent Seattle team. They played the A's, who are a embarrassment of a franchise.
Yep.
But that's unbelievable. Like, I'm not overreacting.
Yep.
But if Andrew Bailey, who transformed that Giants staff,
Yep.
can transform this staff in the same ilk, which isn't like high strikeouts, because we see like the Logan Webbs.
Yep.
I mean, you're not teaching soft contact. You're teaching the approach for soft contact.
Yep.
But if that can happen, I'm buying into this. And I'm not overreacting because I said I wasn't. But all in. I'm overreacting.
I was shockingly surprised at Boston's play the last, first 5 games of the season. They were the vibes are high. When is Boston's opening day?
I think it's a week from today.
Okay.
Like,
maybe the weather will be better by then.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe. They got the Angels Saturday. Yeah, I think it's next Wednesday.
All right. Hey, shout out Andrew Bailey, man.
Against the Orioles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's keep that excitement until next Tuesday, because the Orioles are the best team in baseball.
Yeah. Hey, shout out Andrew Bailey, man. That guy was, he was one of them. I had him. He's an OG. He was one of my Dynasty darlings back in the day, man. I used to love me some Andrew Bailey.
Dude, everyone loved Andrew Bailey. He just wasn't good.
Yeah. All right, before we get into the meats and the potatoes of the show, let's get into the business aspect of it real quick here. Do you want to get access to the? Whoa, I lost my reading here. I want to make sure I get everything right. If I could let people know what's going on. Do you want to get access to the most accurate fantasy baseball rankings according to Fantasy Pros? We got draft sheet. Well, draft sheet sheets are pretty much pointless. Although I did hear a guy in my office had his draft last night, which I get baseball such a long season, you can kind of forego like the first week or 2 weeks, but that's weird. Anyways, don't worry about the draft sheet sheets. Draft season's over. But we do got a ton of DFS and betting projections. DFS Daddy Dave is out there doing his MLB cheat sheets. Somehow that guy, man, I don't know how he does it. He is a DFS darling. My man puts down 200, wins 500 every night, but hey, that's his thing. When I get in on that action, you can do all of that by becoming an all-access member today. You can go over to fantasysixpack.net/plans. Right now, we're using promo code F6PMLB24 to save an extra 15% off. I think that covered everything.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. But
let's get into some. Yeah, go ahead.
Time
for baseball. Let's get into probably the biggest news of the week, which happened just the other night, and that is Ronel Blanco's no-hitter for the Houston Astros, which came against.
We all saw coming.
Yeah, exactly. We all saw this coming. I mean, he did have a really good spring. I don't know if we saw this coming after that spring, but hey, this is only his 8th career start, and he's pitching a no-hitter. Yeah, we all saw this coming. He did it against a pretty admirable opponent, too, in Toronto. You would have thought for sure, the likes of Bichette or Vladdy or somebody on that team would have at least gotten a hit, but nope. And then there was a couple of close calls at the end there. I don't know if you said you weren't watching. Nick was catching his Z's at that point. Yeah, but it was a really good start from him, and 90% whiff rate in that one start. So obviously you're gonna miss a ton of bats if you're gonna throw a no hitter. So, and you almost pulled the Greg Maddux. I think he ended up with 104 pitches or something like that. 105 pitches. That's very admirable for a no hitter to also go along with 7 strikeouts. It's awesome. Love to see it. Now, one of the things I will say, right now he's kind of just filling in for the injured Justin Verlander, and he'll be back at some point this season. Now, I think he's got if he can continue this trend, he has a chance, I think, to stay as the 5th starter over JP France. I love JP France. I like, he's shown some flashes here and there, but if Ronel can continue his hot spring and now got a no hitter, this also I just read too. The earliest calendar date of a no-hitter. We've had obviously opening day no-hitters, but April 1st is the earliest calendar no-hitter.
Wow, that's a nice little tidbit. Thank you, Jason, for that one.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Coming in here, bringing some news to you guys. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard about it. It's been all the talk the last day and a half. So yeah. Moving on, we're going to another little bit of news here, and that is someone that's near to my heart. Justin Steele, opening day, pulls his hammy, trying to feel a ground ball. Not anyone that wants to hear. I think Justin Steele was being drafted in the first 6 rounds, maybe 7 rounds, something like that. So he was being drafted as a lot of people's aces.
Yeah. People like me that don't love picking pitching early. I have him in, I think 3 redraft leagues. So I am right there with you being a little bit upset. I sent you a picture of my TJFB. I mean, no, my Nerf injury. Like my whole bench is just Cole, Steele, Devin Williams. So was not happy to see Steele, but I saw some videos of him throwing and stretching. So I think this could be a short stint. But hammies are tough. Those are something like that. That could be like a season-altering injury, even if he's back. Like he might just not be the same. Ideally, he's still young enough to like recuperate, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I saw the same thing. He's out throwing already at Wrigley Field the other day. So again, probably just a little bit more of a precautionary IL stint here.
Yes, sure.
And then obviously you don't want to rush him back out 5 days later. So put him on the IL, give him skip a turn or two, and then he'll be back here shortly, I'm sure. So fear not. Hold on to all those Justin Steele shares, even if you don't have an IL spot like Nerf. Right? Nerf doesn't have IL spots.
Nothing. They're all.
Yeah. Your whole bench is just your whole bench.
They're all hard.
Yeah,
it's great. I love it here.
Yeah. All right. Well, from one injury news, let's go to something a little bit more exciting, and that is the pitching prospect, or the Pittsburgh Pirates' #1 pitching prospect. Wow, that was a mouthful. Pittsburgh Pirates pitching prospect Jared Jones makes his MLB debut. Looked great. We were talking about it a little bit here before the pre-show. 5 2/3 innings. They gave up 3 earned runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, but 10 strikeouts in that 5 2/3. 22 whiffs on only 89 pitches. Huge. Again, this was one of those darlings, spring training darlings. There was talks if he was going to make the opening day roster. He does. And not only does he make his debut, he contributes to the Pirates now being 5-0, 6-0.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. It's crazy because I, for one, was talking so much trash about the NL Central. Both the Brewers and the Pirates are El Fuego to start off the season.
Wait, who picked Jared Jones as Rookie of the Year?
Did you?
Yeah. But also nice. It's been one start. I'm pumped about this one, mostly because my wife's brother, my brother-in-law, my wife's sister's husband, brother-in-law.
Nice.
Fantasy baseball player, not like this, just like does a season long. Occasionally will ask me for tips. And he was like, I'm at the end of my draft. Just like give me a player I can just bid $1 on.
Okay.
So I was like, just go with Jared. I gave him Jared Jones, Lipscomb, because I'm also obsessed with Trey Lipscomb.
Yeah, you threw that out to me too, and I was like, at my home league, I'm like, any like random late round
and
flyers?
Then there was one more who I completely forgot, but he was like, I got Jared Jones. I was like, great. And then he texts me after a start. He was like, wait, you actually know what you're talking about? I was like, yeah, man, I'm actually kind of good at this sometimes. So that at least got me some credit with the extended fam. So I'm happy about Jared Jones. Excited about the Pirates because it's cool to see these. This could definitely be something that could have been a don't overreact to. Like, don't overreact to the Pirates being good because they might not. But they've got Skeens coming, who was dominant in his AAA start. And now you got this guy who I'm pretty sure I brought this up before. Had no idea who he was even like 3 months ago. No clue at all. Yeah. But you know what? He's doing good. I don't have any shares of him because I don't know who the hell he was. I have him in some redrafts. That's about it, just because I was excited about him. But yeah, that's definitely it's one of the good stories because you love seeing the starting pitcher because we're used to seeing the rookie starting pitcher just like not be great.
Right.
Yeah. And it kind of like he seems to get it, but we'll see. Maybe another couple turns, he'll be sent down.
Yeah. We've gotten through, I think, every pitcher is thrown at least once, I believe. We've gotten through, I think every rotation's gone through once. He's currently the stuff plus leader through the first.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's wild.
A little tidbit I think you may have told me pre-show.
There we go.
Shout out Nick for the nugget there. The little nugget there they dropped on me before the show started here. And then we'll go on to the next guy here. This is actually a little bit of no surprise whatsoever, and that's Royce Lewis to the IL after an insane second half, I guess, to 2023, where he set the Grand Slam record or whatever it was? Didn't he have some crazy record where it was like the most Grand Slams in a month or some crazy shit or whatever?
Like 3 or some shit. It was wild.
And shout out to our new segment, Beck's Bets and Nick's Picks. Royce Lewis spoiled my Beck's bet from last week when he took Cole Reagan's deep in the first and then preemptively gets hurt like an inning and a half later. So this one's one of those ones I don't want to take victory laps on, but this is everyone that, I mean, God, what was his ADP was
skyrocketed the last like 3 weeks.
It was, yeah. I mean, I'm saying he might have even been like a 3rd round pick when near the end of March
here. He was like top 50.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah. And again, it's not a quick injury either. I think the general manager or the manager come out and said it's going to be at least a month. I believe it's an oblique injury. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that. I'm not a doctor, but yeah, a month plus already to start the season, basically.
I believe.
Yes.
I think it was a significant oblique injury was like the exact phrasing. And then I was just like, okay, well, we're not seeing him till maybe the All-Star break.
Yeah. And then again,
that's another one that could bark all year.
Right.
Like those, like the high ankle sprains, the pulled mouth, like those, like small, in our minds, small injuries are the ones that bite you.
Yeah, for sure. Those are ones like, they come back for a week and then he goes right back on the IL or just never grabs that. He's already going to miss out on his ADP ROI because, yes, his ADP was top, depending on what size league you're in. He was a 3rd round pick in 15-team leagues. His ADP was 48. So right at that like 3-4 turn in 15-team leagues. So yeah, that ROI is already out the window by missing the first half of the season or first month of the season. Like I said, in other news, water's wet. Royce Lewis to the IL.
Texas, Royce Lewis gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Next one here is a little bit of a shock, and that's Esteury Ruiz being sent down by Oakland Athletics. Only in a shock that, I guess it's not really a shock because this organization is just an absolute dumpster fire and just trash organization. But it's a little bit shocking because he was actually off to one of his best starts. Again, small sample size, but through his first
he had like 3 at bats.
seven at bats, 8 plate appearances, but he was already off to his, I mean, he had a 1232 OPS. Again, small sample size, but that was, for his standards, that was really good. Because I mean, look at this. Let's take a quick look here. I pulled up his Savant page, and what everyone wants to say. Oh, I don't know if you've heard these rumors that he was wearing these wristbands of an Oakland sell the team protest or something like that, right? Like I don't know exactly what it was, but
yes, yeah, the wristband said America's Last Dive Bar, which I guess is like a website.
Okay.
That is like a fan page for the A's, and they're very against the selling of the team. So I read 4 people wore the wristband at one point. One was Brent Rooker, who just got benched.
Yep.
Ruiz got sent down.
Yep.
Kaplarian wore it last year, got traded or cut, and then someone else was the same thing, which is hilarious. But also, we need to call a spade here.
Yep.
He's not good.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's not. We shouldn't be like, oh my God, the A's are dumb. One, just trade him, which is completely fine with me.
Yep.
99% of the league would take him. But like, he's not Juan Pierre. Like, Juan Pierre was a baseball player.
Yep.
Ruiz is a runner. Like, which is fine. There's a place for it in the game. Totally understand that. But you can't hit the way he hits and expect him to take a spot. And even like Kotze, I don't know if this was a real quote or not, so please correct me if I am wrong. I believe he was being questioned, and he said, you have to get on base to use your speed, and he doesn't get on base.
I heard that too, yep.
Okay, so if that's a real thing, then, like, he's not wrong, but, like, I don't know. He's a runner. He's not a baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, evidenced by 67 stolen bases on his only 309 OBP last year. I mean, he would get on base and steal second and then steal third. His, sprint speed's in 97th percentile. Obviously, you can see at the bottom of the graphs there. But yeah, I think the only thing that makes it peculiar is the timing, because he was off to, like I said, one of his best starts to the first weekend of the season, and then miraculously gets sent down. So maybe there is a little bit of some, conspiracy theorist in me that believes that maybe it was the wristband, but it's also kind of weird to see him get sent down because of a wristband. So
yes.
I'm not going to go out there on a limb and say that it was because of the wristband, but when you look at this page here, yes, he's not a very good player. So there could have a little bit of that behind it as well. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure he will only be down there for a short time. And now if he comes back up by like this weekend, then maybe it was the wristband, but we'll see how that goes going forward. Again, a little bit of shocker just because of what the tear he was on to start the season. From one guy being sent down to another guy being a top prospect being sent up, and this Justin Foscue was recalled by the Rangers today, I believe, or yesterday. And this is in light of the Josh Jung injury, which we kind of just brushed under the table for certain reasons. But yeah, this is basically he was a former first round pick by the Rangers in 2020. He can play both second base and third base, plays positions that they have a little bit of a hole at there for Texas. He had a really solid 2023 season at AAA. He's coming off of 3 straight seasons, 15 plus home runs, has really good bat to ball skills. Not going to hit for a super high average, but I'd say around 250 to 270 range, decent amount of pop. He's got second base eligibility. To me, I mean, he's going to be one of those guys that's, you're going to basically almost be a cheat code for second base, because second base is kind of a dying position. But
yeah, totally agree there. I picked him up in my work league, and he has first, second, and third eligibility. And I was just like, okay, so that's middle infield, that's corner, and that's all 3 of those individually. So that was like a big plus for me, at least in this Yahoo league I'm in. But he's, again, someone that the prospect fatigue, he's been around. So like, I feel like his hype is kind of not gone, but like, it's not as exciting as if this was 2 years ago. And we'd be like, oh, Foscue's up. Now it's just like, okay, like there's now an excuse to have Foscue to be up, as opposed to like him forcing his way up. He had a decent spring, but like, I hope he's good. I mean, that team, man, they are just loaded. You, and this is not Foscue related, but like Jack Leader seems to be figuring it out, which like might be a reliever role, fine, whatever. But like this team, I feel like they can probably play the disrespect card like all year, because like no one's talking. They're talking about the Braves, they're talking about the Dodgers, but this team is returning and they're better. And they just lost one of their better pieces that they haven't even really used. So like, because like we spoke about earlier, Young, whatever the fuck you want to call him, keeps getting hurt. And he's gonna get that tag soon. That I know baseball kind of, you don't really put the injury tag on like a corner infielder just because they're built differently, as opposed to like a Buxton who's in center field and built like me.
Right.
But this is 3 injuries in 3 years. And this one is more of a freak injury because he got hit. It wasn't like him like running and he's like broke his leg or some shit.
Yeah.
But definitely Excited for Foscue, hoping Josh Young gets back soon for many reasons, and just gotta the Rangers just like a next man up, and that's
They really are.
how you build like a great team is when you always have someone ready to go.
Yeah. The fact that you can win the World Series and then add arguably the top prospect in baseball and Wyatt Langford to your lineup on opening day is a almost an embarrassment of riches to the point of being like the Orioles, just not as quite as Orioles have more pieces as far as prospects go, but it's along the same lines of just embarrassment of riches when you can add a Wyatt Langford to a defending World Series champion in the Texas Rangers, and now you can bring up another top hitting prospect in Justin Foscue as well. Real quick before we get out of the news and notes for this week, something that's kind of funny, not I don't know about funny, but interesting to me is Joey Bart being DFA'd by the Giants. This is a former second overall pick way back in 2018. And not only did he get second overall pick, some kind of on the long lines of how you were talking about Justin Foscue, if he was called up, Joey Bart was called up in 2020. So only 2 years after being drafted, and then has just completely fizzled out. I'm not sure exactly what his owned or roster percent is. I could find that out quickly, but I know over the last few years he's fallen heavily out of grace. He had that one good season, I think 2021, had a decent season, especially for like a 2-catcher league, but he is completely just fizzled out, and this almost basically guarantees his end with the Giants. I can't imagine any other teams really taking a flyer on him. I do know a lot of teams nowadays have preferred the almost like platooning of the catcher, whether not necessarily for like bat-handedness, but like for longevity at the position. So maybe he can pick it up somewhere else, but he was a huge prospect coming into the draft, huge prospect once being drafted by the Giants, and then even coming up and somewhat living up to those expectations and then quickly just fizzling out. So this might be the end of the road for Joey Bart. Like I said, it's just a little bit of some dynasty tidbits there for anyone that may have missed it. Joey Bart. If for some reason you are still rostering him, it's finally time to cut bait with Joey Bart.
Yeah, I think it's close for us to come up with a new type of acronym, like there's no such thing as a pitching prospect, but there's no such thing as a catching prospect unless you're Adley Rutschman.
Yes.
So whoever is in charge of those type of things on the internet, just go ahead and just make an acronym of that.
Yeah, because I mean, even guys since Adley Rutschman, like Henry Davis, first over pick, he is back to playing catcher now, but majority of the times they don't stick behind the plate, and if they do, it's for their defense, and then it's not what you want in your fantasy.
Then you're not a fantasy relevant catcher.
Exactly.
Unless you're Kyle Teal.
Yeah, we'll see. That's the tickets to be written still. All right, let's see here. From there, we're gonna go into a little bit of maybe a speed round of some buy and sell here. A couple of names that have been either performing well or not so well, and to see if are you in on them or are you out on them? First one we're going to go with, since it's the Cubs, Shota Imanaga makes not only his stateside debut, but also his Wrigley Field debut. Had that place rocking. I wish I was there because that's the type of like opening day you want to be at. Even though the weather was shit, it was still an awesome time. 6 innings pitched, 9 Ks, 2 hits, no walks. This following this up after a strong spring where he struck out 25 batters in like 18 innings, 4th most Ks in spring training. Are you buying or selling Imanaga?
I'm buying, man. Mostly just because of the story of it. I love a good story. It's just he was so good, and he was if this was any other offseason, Jason, if it wasn't the Yamamoto sweepstakes, I think we would have had more hype around him.
Yep.
And that it worked out for the Cubs because they got this great pitcher. Granted, he's 30 or maybe he's 31. So he's getting old, man.
Yeah.
So I love him, man. And just like the way he pitches, he's quick. I like that. It would seem to be like a fast paced. And it's great that he's in Chicago because cities like Boston, New York, Chicago, I'm not going to say LA because that's not a baseball city. These are baseball cities that live and breathe and love it. And that's what's great to have the exciting, like when Dice K was here, that was so exciting for everybody.
Yep.
So definitely like hoping he does great. I don't have any shares of him. Wish I did, but yeah, that's you.
Yeah, I mean, I was in on him. I had my reservations when they signed him just because I didn't really. Sometimes those like soft tossing, imports. Sometimes if we see them like a Kenta
Yep.
Maeda, right? Like that is kind of, and this is again, I don't want to overreact to one start, but he's obviously shown the ability to miss bats, and that's obviously a huge outlier and a something that Cubs really need. So hey, I'm in on it for now. I think he has the ability to continue racking up the strikeouts, which will then limit the people on base, and then therefore the whips and the ERA. So yeah, I'm in on Shota. I can't wait to see his next start. I believe he goes this weekend against. I don't remember. I have to look off the top of my head, but he's up again this weekend. So Wrigley. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that because we're in for a ton of bad weather. So there's gonna be some cancellations. So he may not be able to double dip this week again. Actually, so all right, on to the next guy. Someone I know that you were pretty high on. I think a lot of people were high on before the season. Again, don't want to overreact to 1 week, but Nolan Jones. He's only got a 393 OPS, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 RBIs, and no stolen bases so far. Again, he has not played at Coors yet. They've been on the road back-to-back series so far. That could be something a little telling there. But are you in or out on Nolan Jones' slow start?
I'm still in just because I'm too puck committed at this point. But again, we can't. It's been a handful of games, so
Yeah.
this was my resolution was to not cut bait with guys like this early because you just need to wait it out. Maybe in like May, give me till May 25th, which is my birthday. So on my birthday, I will tell you either via text or I'll tweet it out. I'm done with Nolan Jones. But
Okay.
right now, my big issue with him is I love his speed, but he's not getting on base.
Right.
So if he can just get that gap power back, get doubles, he'll be fine. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think a good homestand will carry a lot of
Home
guys on that team. Yeah, I mean him and Chris Bryant still hitless.
well, Chris Bryant stinks.
Hey, I have a soft spot in my heart for Chris
Chris
Bryant, but yeah, I think a good homestand can get. Again, we're in that part of the season where like 2 good games and we're back to being like, oh, look at Nolan Jones' stat line.
Like 3 for 5.
Yeah, with a home run and a double, and yeah, we're all of a sudden he's back up to like a 700, 800 OPS. So hang in there with the Nolan Jones. Next one is a little bit more of a surprise, which we didn't really even talk about last year, but last week, but we were doing awards. But that's Garrett Crochet. Spring training came out that they were not only going to make him a starter, they were going to be the White Sox opening day starter. Garrett Crochet comes out and proves why he should have been the opening day starter. 6 innings, 5 hits, no walks, and 8 Ks. Looked really good against the Tigers, I know. True test comes tonight against Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're playing Atlanta tonight.
Right now.
Yeah, I was looking at the score to see.
Two strikeouts in the first.
No runs?
No runs, no hits.
All right. So this could be the White Sox could be on something here, right? The White Sox have always been able to develop pitching. It's always been the hitting that they've been faulting at. Are you in or out on Garrett Crochet's hot start?
Out. Don't care.
One thing I will say with Garrett Crochet going forward is innings pitch limit. He's always been a reliever.
Once there's more tape out, I don't know. Like I'm just like indifferent on. I don't think he's gonna. I'll put it this way: he will not be their opening day starter next year.
Here's a good. Would you rather? Because they're almost like the exact same identity, with one's lefty and one's righty. Him or Jordan Hicks with the Giants, who they've stretched out to be a starter now.
Probably Crochet.
Yeah, same. I think Crochet has good stuff. I just don't know. Again, there's going to be an inning pitch limit this year. He's still in foreign territory. And going back to his days in college, he was never even a starter. He's always been a relief arm. So it'll be interesting to see as the seasons go on and starts racking up. Like he's going to get the workload. 60 innings is like a month and a half.
Yeah.
of a season, where that 60 innings, 70 innings is what he's used to in a whole season. So it'll be interesting to see in like a couple months, by like the All-Star break, if he's still starting and where his stat line is then. But I'm going to keep riding Garrett Crochet. I've always liked the arm. This was also a guy that I talked about this in the waiver wire show last weekend. This is a guy that, like, before it was even a thing, was drafted and then debuted like a month later.
Yeah.
That was like, he was one of those guys that everyone's like, whoa, this guy's getting debuted already. Like, and now it's kind of happened a few times. Not necessarily with pitchers, but with hitters. So he's obviously had really good stuff, and the White Sox have known that, and they've put their trust in him. And so I'm going to keep riding Garrett Crochet for at least another month or two. I'm in on it.
Nice.
One more buyer sell real quick. Teoscar Hernandez with the Dodgers now. He's already up to 4 home runs and 9 RBIs, and he's also had a back-to-back games with home runs, and he's also had a 2-run home run game already, which is where those 4 home runs came from. In or out?
I'm in. He's always been good. Like, the pace won't be there.
Right.
He's not going to hit 50 homers. But, like, no. Yeah, he's a good player. He's in a great lineup, and he's like the 5th option in that lineup. So, yeah, I'm all in on.
Yeah, I saw a quote. He came out. Obviously, these type of things always come out after you move teams, but he had, maybe it came out when he was in Seattle, but whatever, regardless of when it came out, he came out and said that he was having really difficulty picking up the ball in Seattle, whether it be the batter's eye or whatever it was. He was having trouble like seeing the ball when he was at the plate in Seattle, and he says it's better in LA. So, hey, this is one of those sneaky players that like the Dodgers just happen to sign, and he might end up being like, at the end, when it's all said and done, he might be one of like the top 2 or 3 home run hitters on that team, believe it or not, after all those guys that they have on their team. So I'm in on Teoscar. I think most people are. I don't know exactly what his ADP was, but people know what Teoscar is at this point. I just thought that on a new lineup, a stacked lineup, and he's already producing this early in the season, he's got a big season ahead of him, I think.
I'm with it.
All right. Well, let's get into everyone's, or at least our favorite segment of this show now.
The music's so good.
Yeah. It almost reminds me of that game Backyard Baseball.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. So I went 0-1, or my first pick was a loss. Like I said, I talked about it earlier. Royce Lewis took Reagan's deep, so there was no run. There was a run in the first inning, so I lost that bet. You, however, you got the dub, you got the victory going. I think you had like Detroit over minus
first 5.
Yeah, they were up. So you got that one. Why don't you take the honors and give us your play for this week? I know it's a very limited slate tonight as well as tomorrow. So why don't you hit us?
So I know I teased earlier. It seemed I was going for runs, but I switched my mind in the middle of the show. I'm going back to the well with the Tigers. Just gonna Tigers over the Mets, just money line. It's minus 125. Simple. Okay. Just I love Tariq Skubal, so I'm really just kind of targeting that.
I was going to say, yeah, that's who you bet on last time. Was Skubal.
And I don't think Quintana's good.
No, that's. And I saw that, and I thought about taking that same bet, something along those lines, because I don't think I was almost going to go Tigers minus 1.5 because it's plus money versus the money line, but it could be one of those 1-0 games. It's in New York, so it's hard to tell. And the offense for the Tigers, the Tigers, aren't they like 5-0 or something like that? Crazy, like 4-0, 5-1 or something. They're like one of those teams like the Pirates.
We need to get Dave in here. Maybe we'll call up Uncle Dave to maybe come join us next Wednesday.
Yeah. Yep.
A little Tiger minute.
Mine's a little chalky this week, but I need a win after going 0-1 start season. I'm going Dodgers minus 1.5 at home against the Giants. Kyle Harrison's on the bump for the Giants. Glass now for the Dodgers. As long as Glass now
get hurt.
Yeah, it should be almost a no-brainer. The Dodgers offense is, again, showing it's one of the best, if not one of the best offense in the league. Can easily put up 9 a run, and I don't think Glasnow can give up that many, or will not give up that many. So give me the chalk. It's still pretty decent, not super juiced odds, but I got it right now at minus 113. So not that bad at all. So we'll ride those out this week, and we'll be back next week and see where we stand on those records for that. Anything else before we get out of here?
Oh, yes. Actually, I do have one thing to add.
All right.
So I think my goal by this weekend, I'm pretty busy. Got WrestleMania coming up. But my goal is to make a Diamond Dynasty team with our logo
Oh,
and
so
make uniforms
yeah,
around our branding.
that's pretty sick because I have a Diamond Dynasty team. I didn't even think to use the On Deck Circle logo or anything.
Yeah, I think I'll do it. And then I'll put it in the vault and then you can download it.
There we go. Now we're thinking. Be on the lookout for that on the. We'll be talking Diamond Dynasty on this podcast in no time.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, man. See ya.
See you, bud.